Hey everyone, it's Pastor Phil Janish and welcome to our Sunday preparation meditation for this week. So if you come to church on Sunday, which I hope you do, I think you'll recognize there's a theme that runs through all three of our lessons, and that theme is this: God calls the unworthy into service. In our first lesson, we're going to see God call Moses to be his prophet and to go lead the children of Israel out of slavery in Egypt. And we know that Moses was a murderer. He had killed an Egyptian, yet God called the unworthy. In our second lesson, we're going to hear the Apostle Paul say that God called him to service and appointed him, even though he persecuted the church and blasphemed. The Apostle Paul is going to go so far as to say, I'm the chief of sinners, yet Christ died for me and God called me. God calls the unworthy to service. And then finally, in our gospel lesson, we are going to see Jesus call the tax collector Matthew, also called Levi. Jesus is going to see Matthew at his tax collector's booth and say, "Come, follow me." He's going to call him into service, call him as an apostle. And Matthew, being a tax collector, was a social outcast and probably even a thief. Many tax collectors had the practice of charging more taxes that were owed, and then they pocketed the extra. Yet, even though Matthew was a social outcast and possibly even a thief, Jesus called him into service. God calls the unworthy into service. So, God called Moses a murderer. God called Paul, also a murderer and a persecutor of the church. And God called Matthew a tax collector and thief. And guess what? Included in that list of unworthy people that God has called is you and me. All of us are sinners. We know this. All of us have some failing. Yet despite our sins, our failings, and our flaws, God has called us into service. God has said to each and every one of us, "Follow me, and I want you to serve me." We have the high privilege of being called by God into service, even though we are unworthy. So God comes to us and He forgives us of our sins. He wipes us clean, and He makes us ready for service, and He calls us into service. Cherish that call you have, the call to follow Jesus and to live a life for Him, and with joy go out and follow that calling. Okay, we'll talk more about that on Sunday. Hope to see you there. Bye-bye.